I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for a moment of silence. All right, Dr. Syverson, are there any additions or changes to the agenda items?
Yes, actually, we do have one change to make. So we are not going to proceed with the preliminary hearing on the sale of bonds tonight. We had planned on doing that tonight, but as most of you may or may not know, the property tax bill was approved last night at about 12:15 in the morning. And so we are trying to get our arms around what that's going to mean for us, actually. We need some time to do that. We had a call today. David and I jumped on a call with our attorneys and our financial people, and they don't know either what this means for us. And so we just kind of as a group decided that we're going to wait and do this hearing next month after we've had a chance to actually look through all the information, see what the impact is going to be on us financially before we move forward with any kind of talk about a bond sale. So we sort of need to get a baseline of what this is actually going to mean for us, and we just don't have time to do it. So we want to be transparent with what we're going to do and what we're going to spend the money on and all of that. In order to do that, we really need to wait till next month. So we're going to pause that, and we'll do it again next month. We'll get it on the agenda. We have to get this done by June. We've got 2 more hearings, so we can do one in May and one in June, and we'll be fine to do something in the fall. If we had to, we could have a special session to do it if we had to. But I don't think we'll have to do that.
Okay.
So we're skipping it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. S.
All right.
Is there anyone who wants to make any public comments on agenda items? Okay, thank you. And now, Dr. S, for your superintendent report.
Yeah, so we're elated to have Mrs. Cox and the North Salem team here tonight to talk a little bit about what they're doing at North Salem around literacy and some other things, I believe. And so the floor is yours.
Okay, come on up, ladies. You gotta join me. So I know that everybody here knows Ashley Tucker, our instructional coach, but I do want to introduce Lindsay Acton. So Lindsay is our TSS with our literacy cadre. So she's joining us tonight because we're going to talk a little bit about the literacy cadre. We're going to just talk about some of the things we are doing surrounding literacy at North Salem. Some of them might be a little bit more specific to North Salem. I know we have a lot of great district initiatives, but there are a few things that I think are probably a little bit more unique to just something that works in our building. So, go ahead. Next slide. Yep. Okay, so just a little agenda here. We'll talk a little bit about the cadre and what that entails. And then we will talk a little bit about our goals and the directions we're going, some goals that we set for ourselves. And Lindsay will even talk a little bit about those state level goals as well. We'll share some data, not a ton of data, but just some very precise looks at data so that we can see where we're going and some great things that are happening. And I'll talk a little bit about I Read Camp, which is, I think, the part that is a little bit more unique to North Salem. And then we'll just have some great pictures of literacy in action that gives you a little snapshot into the day at North Salem.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so we'll start off here. First, foremost, and forever, accuracy is the foundation of fluency. And I love this picture because I want you to know that that is not a classroom teacher. That's an instructional assistant there with her blending board doing an activity, a phonics activity there with her students during our small group time. And I think that that picture is a great example of the level of importance our IAs are playing in the role of instructional techniques and what we've been working on with our students. So they are right there in the middle of it, and we couldn't do this job without them. So I don't ever want to sell them short on the importance of what they're doing with us, right beside us. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to the next one, and Lindsay's going to talk a little bit about the cadre.
Thank you so much for letting me be here. I love talking about what the literacy cadre is about and where we are headed. As you probably know, the state of Indiana has some codified language around literacy and the science of reading and how children demonstrate their knowledge of reading, right? So we have adopted that language, which is great, right? As a state, we have big lofty goals as a state. What's great about what's happening is that probably more eyes than ever before are on the work that the cadre is doing, because Indiana was previously like 40th in the nation in terms of literacy, and we moved to 6th in the last 365 days, which is a really amazing thing to be able to talk about. But if you're not familiar with the literacy cadre, basically we have sort of this triumvirate, right? There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but there is a partnership with CEL at the University of Indianapolis, the state, and then also with the regional education service centers. So Region 9 is where we are a part of, and we have 9 of me. I'm called a training support specialist, and what we do is we serve 10-ish schools apiece. So I am lucky enough to be in Northwest Hendricks, and then another district as well. What we are working toward is 95% of all Indiana students passing iRead by the year 2027. And I think when the cadre started, 2027 felt really far away. And now it doesn't feel really far away at all, and we're all going, we gotta get moving. But we have moved in the right direction, and it's been really, really great. So our goal at the cadre is to partner with school districts and help support schools in achieving that goal of having 95% of our students passing iRead by 2027. Again, it seemed really far away right at the time, but now we're kind of moving in that direction, and as you can see, like, lots and lots of really cool goals here. These are our KPIs, key performance indicators, that tell us, like, yes, we're doing well, no, we're not doing well. These are kind of the benchmarks. So we're hoping for at least 91% of students demonstrating foundational literacy skills by passing iRead by July of 25, following the summer administration. So we are just now looking at the data after the first administration of the test, and it's looking really good. I couldn't even begin to guess like where we're gonna end, but it's looking pretty good. 69.9% of English learners will demonstrate foundational literacy skills by passing iRead. Again, we're just through that first administration of the test, so, you know, stuff is it's very fluid and embargoed and all the fancy words for a little while. But what we try to do as a group is I come to every school, I get all of the Northwest Hendricks elementaries, and it's so much fun to see. I was just at PES this morning, and I get to meet with your principals, I get to meet with Ashley, I get to meet with teachers and watch them do incredible work every month, and then we kind of sit down and we say, okay, what needs to happen? And then really, Ashley's the one who executes the miracles. Like, she's incredible, she does all the cool things, but we kind of get ourselves around what are we doing with the science of reading, how are we training teachers, working with teachers, getting into classrooms, and making sure that these KPIs are able to be met. The cool news for Northwest Hendricks is that you guys achieve at a pretty high level. So you got to say, I would love to be part of the cadre. And some schools get to say, we are joining the cadre because we have to, right? So there are some choices, and those are different depending on what your achievement level looks like. Okay, I think I might have said all the things already. But we have this literacy focus, like I said, in grades K to 3. I think the biggest thing that I want to share about the cadre is that it is based around the science of reading. So we're talking about like actual brain science, and you know, like teaching someone to read is not a very natural process, right? You have, like, when you're a baby, you have a part in the back of your brain that teaches you how to look at people's faces and recognize their face. And that's cool, but it doesn't say anything about letters, and it doesn't say anything about words. And so what you have to retrain your body to do, or what you have to be taught how to retrain your body to do, is take that place where you recognize faces as a baby and turn that into a place that recognizes letters and sounds, and then move that into the front of your brain so it comes out of your mouth. And it's a really, really technical process. We've evolved as a species in cool ways, but not in the way that written language is a natural process for us, right? Like, our language evolved and has been passed down for thousands of years in the oral tradition, meaning we've talked about it, right? But we haven't gotten to a place evolutionarily, say that 10 times fast, where we can say, okay, we can talk about the way that this language is written. So we're literally rewiring children's brains all day, every day, when we teach them how to read. So we have a cadre coach, which is Ashley, and you already know she's incredible, that works with me. She teaches me something every single day. And we have this 2-year relationship minimum. Hopefully, a cohort 4 will be approved. We don't know anything about that yet because the legislative session is still doing what it's doing and approving bills at 12:15 in the morning. So we don't know yet, but hopefully we will soon. Our supports in North Salem are things like coaching cycles. So Ashley is, like, she's the main boots on the ground kind of person, so is Tiffany, and what they are able to do is say, hey, we need to really work with this teacher. And so that happens in grades really K through 3. It can be K2. We collaborate with our state partners. We have opportunities to meet with incredible experts from all over the United States on a virtual basis. Twice a month we have a collaboration network, and there's like 300 people on this call, so every coach in the state, every TSS in the state, every person who wants to be on it can. And so we are then giving resources to support that development. We have this like train the trainer model. You know, the expert comes and then they train like my bosses and then they train us and then we train and on it goes, with the goal of reaching children and impacting their literacy. So the goal, of course, is just to make sure that we're using decodable texts and we are using routines that support fluency and vocabulary development in ways that support those science of reading practices. So that was a lot of words, but that's pretty much what it is.
All right, so at the beginning of the school year, Tiffany and I kind of sat down with our staff as well as with Lindsay kind of as our support, and we came up with some literacy goals that we wanted to kind of like think about to kind of support our work that we were doing with the cadre, as well as the work with teaching all kids to read. So our first goal was that 100% of our 3rd grade students will pass iRead. And then we put a lot of focus on our 2nd grade, because as Tiffany will talk about in a minute, you can kind of see our trends, but we kind of put a lofty goal on our 2nd grade teachers of let's look at 75% of our 2nd grade students passing that iRead 3 assessment. So then when they get to 3rd grade, it's less work that our 3rd grade teachers are going to have to do to ensure that they're getting there. And then goal number 3 is that any student that does not pass in that spring window will receive the interventions and then have that opportunity to test again, which we'll talk a little bit more about here in a minute too.
So we have some data up here, and some of this data isn't new to you. You've seen it before. But I think what Ashley was talking about was setting that 75% goal for our 2nd graders. Yes, we want our 3rd graders to pass because that's that last opportunity, right? But we want to think ahead of that. And honestly, my ultimate goal would be that we wipe it out as a 3rd grade scenario for us. Like, why can't we make this a priority in 2nd grade? And so that's really been kind of a shift in thinking and how we want to approach it. And I think some of the changes that have happened at the state level are going to help us to do that with these extra opportunities to test. But you can already see this is early data, and you can see the little asterisks there because we are not done testing this year. We are not done with interventions. This is not our final percentile, but we're awfully close to that 75% for our 2nd grade, which we are really excited about. 71% so far. I don't know if it's still embargoed or not. But 3rd grade, so we calculated 92%, and we're pretty sure that's accurate because when you look at the state site right now, it's kind of awkward because it's just showing us our percentage of the ones that have actually taken it right now, which a lot of our kiddos passed in 2nd grade, which is awesome. Well, half of them, 49% last year. And obviously this takes into account new students who have moved in, so we have all of that. But we're very pleased with that 2nd grade trend. And I will tell you that I feel like a huge amount of that success goes back around to the work that we've done with Youth Life and those small group interventions. And again, I will sing Ashley's praises because Ashley is the one going in and she is helping to train our IAs. We just had another wonderful session with Lacey Ladd, and then Ashley and I were able to come back together with some of that feedback on Youth Life, and then make a plan for how we're moving forward. What are we going to do between now and the end of the year? What is our big focus when we come back and kick off the year so that we're making those groups even stronger? Because again, I always want to sing our teachers' praises, of course, but I also really want to shout out to those IAs this year because they have taken on a heavy lift. We are asking them to do things that classroom teachers do. So we have really put a lot on their plates, and we have really raised expectations, and they are rising to those expectations. So I'm so super proud of them. And I just want them to know how valuable they are. So give them a shout out when you see them.
All right, so the next slide, I tried to take all the great things that the state's telling us we have to do with our second graders and our third graders and put it into a flow chart so it kind of made sense. So, like we said, our second graders have to take iRead. They can either pass iRead and now they're finished with iRead, they don't have to take it anymore. Or if they didn't pass iRead in second grade, well, in second grade, they give you two different kinds. You can be on track as a second grader, meaning when you take it in third grade, more than likely you're going to pass. Or you can be at risk. So our second graders get two different scores. So if we're a DMP, but we're on track, we're at North Salem, they're gonna have this 4 weeks of iRead camp, and then they're gonna retest in May right before school's out. And then they're finished. They can either, if they pass, they're done, they won't take it again. If they don't pass, they're still finished until next school year. If our kiddos are at risk, they are in this 4 weeks of iRead camp, then they're gonna have 2 weeks of summer school, and then we're going to retest in June. And the same thing is they can be at risk in June, they can be on track in June, or they can pass in June. If they pass in June, great, they're finished, they don't take it again. If they're on track, they're moving on to third grade, they're going to have the interventions kind of kicking off at the beginning of the year, and then they'll assess again at the end of third grade, or in the spring of third grade. Then if they're at risk, we're going to have a parent meeting because now the state has this really nice reading plan that we have to put in play for all of these, for students that are going to be here too. So Tiffany and I have kind of decided that this is when we'll bring the parents in. We'll kind of sit down because we're going to have to gather all kinds of data and information and kind of present that to the parents and say, okay, here's where we are with where your child is. So then our third graders have a little different scenario. They get either they pass or get a DMP. They did not pass. So they had, before they took the assessment, we did a 4-week kind of boot camp of iRead at North Salem. So then they took it. If they passed, they're finished. They're moving on to fourth grade. If they did not pass, they're getting the 4 weeks of iRead camp again, and then they're going to test in May. If they pass there, great. They're finished. They're moving on to fourth grade. Once they test in May, if they still didn't pass, they're going to go to summer school again, and then we're going to test again in June. So you can see as a third grader, they have 3 opportunities now to take this assessment. If they pass, great. They're moving on to fourth grade. If they did not pass, we're either going to have retention or a case conference committee because now the state is telling us that we have to bring parents in and look at different options if they did not pass in the third grade. So I tried to simplify it as much as we could.
Your flow charts are very good, very good, yeah.
It's a lot to
There's
process.
a lot to
Yeah.
We finally found ourselves trying to write it out on the whiteboard. We're like, we really need to
It looks great.
for everyone else to understand. So
Yes.
you can go on. I'm going to talk a little bit about iRead Camp. So we kind of use iRead Camp loosely a little bit because we have a couple of different versions of that. Second grade does an iRead Camp in their classroom. And really it's just kind of a way to kick off some of that prep and really start to dig in and really just try to put a less pressured feel to it. And you'll see a picture here pretty soon when we're done talking about this slide. It's on the, I think, the next slide. But they really just play it up. They have actually a day of camping. The kids really enjoy it. And so it's completely focused on what to expect with the iRead without that pressure of, oh my gosh, this is a big, rough test. So that is a lot of fun for the kids. And then we started doing, last year was our first year. And I actually, when I came up with the idea, I went to the PTO and they were on board from the get-go to start helping support that. And so we do, it ends up being 8 sessions, so 8 hours of tutoring. It happens over 4 weeks, and we time that so it leads right up to the week before iRead. So they're getting some intense interventions, and this is where I want to give huge shout outs to my teachers because we ran 6 groups. So we had 19 children, actually 19 children that had to take the test, 18 children attended because it is free to them. And so we ran groups with licensed teachers in every group, 3 kids. So they were very intensive groups. They got really close to one-on-one attention. And what we do is we work through packets. We pull together packets that really just provide them experience with the types of questions they're going to have. Because as you know, sometimes it's about understanding the question you're asked. And so seeing those types of questions, we worked on passages with comprehension pieces, a lot of focus on let's go back and find that evidence. because those answers are there so often in iRead. It's about slowing them down, going back and look for the evidence, and it's about building up that stamina too, because that is something that is really hard on our kids that struggle with reading. That's a lot of reading, and they get fatigued. And so giving that more regular practice, our hope is to help with that fatigue. So we did that for 4 weeks, 8 sessions, and then we tested. We had really great success, and I didn't calculate the percent on how many of those kids passed.
That was
but
my question for you, Mrs.
was it,
Cox.
what was it, 85?
Yeah.
I think it was like 85%.
Okay.
I'm trying to picture that state, you know, when I pull that up
Yes.
on there. I think it was 85. I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. So we had really good success with that. PTO supplies, they supply a couple $100 where we can buy snacks because kids are hungry after school. So we have a snack, and we keep a little prize bucket because we always save one sheet in our packet that we don't want to call homework. But we do want to motivate them to take it home and read it with their parents and do those questions because 1, it allows the parents to see what they're working on, and 2, it carries that home, so there's that importance. But instead of calling it homework, we're not giving a grade, but they get to bring it back completed and get a prize. So we have yo-yos and
All the things.
slime and whistles and whatever. Yes, all the bucket of junk that, you know. comes
Then
up that
brings
they love.
home to my house, and I'm like, where did you get this?
Absolutely. And as I'm walking out the door, I'm like, don't get in trouble on the bus with that.
And can I just toot your horn for a minute, Mrs. Cox? This is teacher volunteers.
Yes.
This
Completely
is
volunteer.
not- that just speaks volumes about your culture and your climate over there, because that is,
So I'm
That's
gonna
huge.
add to it because we are actually doing another 4 weeks of that for our second graders, and I have 6 slots as well. So this go around, we've got 2 kids per slot. So we're doing a 1-to-2 ratio for these tutorings for a total of 8 hours, and so that includes all of our kiddos, and everyone has signed up. All of our kiddos that did not pass in second grade, as well as our couple that still need to pass in third grade. And so we will then test in May, and then we will do our summer camp. So,
wow.
and I have a great team signed up for summer camp. I'm super excited about that. So we'll have some great stuff there. If you wanna go ahead and turn the picture, so here's the second grade camp iRead. So they make a whole day of it. I mean, they're in there with flashlights reading and with the lights out, and I just included an email quote from a parent who just had nice things to say about how excited her daughter was, and I thought, you know, that's important. It's important to find ways to make things like this fun, because it is a lot of pressure on kids. We are expecting a lot of them, and so if we can lighten that and help them find the joy in it and the fun, I think that that's huge. So our second grade teachers do a really great job with putting a fun spin on that. And then our last slide just shows some pictures of our staff in action. We've got teachers, we've got our coach, we've got IAs, we've even got some independent groups going on there, and it's just kind of a snapshot in the day of literacy stations throughout the building. So that's us.
I love it. Well, my only disappointment is that this is our last year with you, and you know that I'm really struggling with leaving North Salem. I'm gonna work through it. Miss Rack, I'm working through it. We're getting ready. I'm sorry. I'm ready. Yeah.
I'll be there forever.
Yes.
Please kindergarten. So
Oh, well, I know, but you'd be surprised how quick it goes by.
that is true.
It really does.
Great work. I
Well, the
mean,
work you
it's-
guys are doing is amazing. As they say, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
And the outcomes for our kids in second, third grade around the IRE test is unbelievable. I know it's embargoed, so we can't say numbers, but the outcomes are pretty amazing.
Well, I can say the goal on the second grade para grant that we did, we set that at 80%. And the state said, that's too high. And I'm thinking we're gonna hit it in
Yeah.
second
Watch
grade.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch me.
they
Yeah.
told me to lower it. So
Really?
when I submitted the grant, they came back and said, you need to bring this number down, that's too high.
Did you say, watch me?
Well, I was like, I think it's a second grade test and our teachers are great and the kids will pass. So I mean,
Awesome.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about this all the time, but these things happen here. They don't just happen by accident. A lot of school districts talk about this stuff so they're blue in the face, and they still are faced with, they have to join the cadre. And it just says a lot too, that we joined, we didn't have to join. So, good for you guys. Yeah. I mean, we break
It's
the-
such a wonderful part of my
Yeah.
week every single week.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for all you do, we appreciate it. Great job, guys. Good
And
work.
I do want to give a shout out to Ashley because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, we could not
Yes.
make so many. Yeah, she's a magic
You're
maker.
amazing.
So
And you're
we're
cool.
fortunate to have her.
And she's cool.
Extra
And
bonus
she's-
point.
And I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you're really good at board presentations, because you've done, I don't know how many.
That's like my fourth one.
She's like, I did? I gotta do another one?
It's her coffee.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Feel free
Thank
to
you.
boogie if you got, I mean,
I'm
it's
gonna
a
race
drawing,
back to
I know.
Nashville. We got
Okay,
Nashville.
now, I guess that's where we're deciding in a work session and consent agenda, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes, it is.
Okay, fair, that's fair.
Thank you.
Yes, great job, thank you. All right, let's approve the consent agenda. And Dr. S sent us the weekly message, I had all that goodies, all those goodies in there. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? I'll second. All right, it's approved. It's approved.
We get down to action items.
Yes, our action items. Dr. S, what you got for us?
Yeah, so, we, as you know, renew these every year, and we just need the board's approval to, continue with our MOU with the Willow Center. They have been amazing partners around our mental health, initiatives here. They have been responsive. They are, I think if you asked our principals, you would say, they would tell you that they have been really amazing partners. And so we just need your approval to continue with them. And
One
the
question.
MOU. Yep.
Remind me, I know you and Mr. Hopewell have told us, but Willow Center, they meet with students in our buildings and outside of our
Yeah,
buildings.
I do think they do both, yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
I thought so.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a first? Do I have a second? All right, it's approved. Next, Dr. S.
Yeah, 26-27 calendar, we reviewed this last month, so we're bringing it back to you for approval for the 26-27 school year calendar. We did share this with the Teacher Association, and they were fine with it, they thought it looked great. Very similar to what we've done in the past, but we just need to get it board approved.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's approved. And our board meeting dates for 25-26 school year, Mr. Hopewell.
Yeah, in our work session, we sat down and kind of threw these dates together, and I just thought we might as well move ahead and get them approved, and that way we can move forward and we're set for next school year.
Perfect. Nice to have those out early.
Yeah.
And everybody knows. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, goes through here.
Abby didn't like it.
And Dr. Syverson, tell us about the high school field trip.
So I also included this in your packet, the field trip request form, but the AP Art group would like to take a trip to Chicago to the Art Institute, spend the day. And so because it's an out-of-state trip, we need your approval to do so.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Second it.
There you go.
It's approved. And discussion items, any? We don't have any? Any down there on that side? Calendar items, next month, May 13th. I can't believe it's May. We will have our board meeting at 6:30 p.m. And do I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second.
All right.
I got through it.
Yeah, good job.
Nice job.
Good job.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, thank you. What'd you bring us? You got goodies for us.